Hello, this is Anna Imagination with the Healing Garden. I am in my dark cave at the moment, brooding while I think about things. Funnels are chain reactions. It's just chain reaction science. And psychology is physics. But chain reaction science is math and logic. And I was thinking like a physicist when I needed to be thinking like a logician. That's my problem. That's why I couldn't figure it out. So when you do economics, you're actually looking at physics. And when you are thinking about human behavior, you are looking at both chain reaction science and physics, also chemistry. There's a lot of chemistry when you are dealing with chain reaction science and human behavior. There's a lot of chemistry there. It's all energy. So when you're putting together a funnel, what you are really doing is a strategic chain reaction where you are controlling the outcome to lead it to a deliberate action. But it's also combining physics, human behavior. The patron who says, ooh, 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 you have initiated my chemical reaction in my brain, and thus I am motivated to learn more. Hello, physics. And then they've got a chain reaction that's waiting to happen, going, what do I do? What do I do? And then it's up to the chain reaction science with logic and math to say, oh, I've initiated your chain reaction in your brain to be motivated to learn more. Now you want to transfer your potential energy over into kinetic energy. Very well. I will go ahead and give you X. And what you are really doing is you are following the chain reaction through to the next step. That's what a funnel is. That's what a call to action is. That's a real sciencey way of saying it's a call to action. But I can't think in terms of call to action because that's in the terms of manipulative, dirty Freudian psychology, which is why I have not been able to figure this out, is because I can't think in Freudian terms. Oh, that makes so much more sense. I found my mental block. I can't think like Freud because, well, that's stupid shit. So I couldn't figure out how to do a call to action with chain reaction science because every time I did, I was turning on the Freudian side of my brain, which doesn't exist. And I'm going, all I see is a bunch of psychological manipulation. I can't do that. It's unethical. So I would freeze up and just go. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is science. This is just chain reaction science, which is logic, which I know, and physics, which I know. So what's the problem? You just do the science. And I'm looking at it going, oh, it's just physics and chemistry with math and logic. I got this shit down. I just got to turn off the Freudian shit. All right, now, if you want to follow the chain reaction through to the next step, now I'm talking like me. If you want to follow this chain reaction through to the next step, now that's authentic and genuine. No manipulation. I mean, we know this. You like what I'm saying. And you want more. Okay, great. If you want to follow this chain reaction to the next step, what should the next step be? Well, what do you want? You want more information. You want more information. What are your options? That's what most people say at this point. They're like, what are my options? What do you got? This is the part where they want the menu. You want the menu. You want the menu. I know what I want to say to you. I know exactly what I want to say to you. I love my YouTube people. I love my YouTube people. You are my people. All right, YouTube. Here's how this works. Oh, this makes so much more sense. My brain's all clearing out all the crap and the clutter. All right. So I love chain reactions and I know how to set them up. And I'm just like, oh, look at all the dominoes. Look at the dominoes. Yeah. So every time I set up a newsletter, it sets off this massive chain reaction that just goes a certain direction. And then it sets off more, and I got people popping all over the place, and I'm like, woohoo! Now I'm really, really, really good with this in the written format. But YouTube is not written. That's my oral stage. And that's where I'm going, shit, because I have not, I'm working on the mastery of oral presentation. And this is where my writing skills are like through the roof. But when I step into the oral world, I'm like, God damn it, I'm still working on this one. So every time I get to a closure, I'm going, I don't know what to say. Because I've mastered the art of standing on stage. I've mastered the art of speaking to an audience. I know how to wrap you in and go, hello, people, I love your energy, you love mine. We have a symbiosis happening here. We know all this. But closing, now that's a skill I just haven't gotten to yet. I am a tradesman at closing. I'm going to say a solid tradesman. So I have not yet figured out how to turn the wherever I'm standing, whatever point I'm on, over to the master level yet, where I can break down the closing. Closing is a whole nother creature that I have yet to figure out. I would say on my oratorial studies, it's definitely closing. It's the summation of, I know how to open. I know how to present a thesis. Oh, good God, I got that down. I know how to entertain. I know how to engage. I know how to be funny sometimes. I know how to be funny sometimes. And so it's really a different skill altogether. And where I keep falling short is, that's all I said. And I just, I hang up on you guys. It's a very abrupt close because I don't know how to transition from the body of the conversation. And sometimes I notice that my conversations lag, where I'll just keep trailing and I'm like, Anna, honey, you need to wrap it up. You're repeating it. I know I need to, but I don't know how. I can't get off the logic train. And I don't know how to wrap it around. I'm doing it right now. So this is conscientiously sitting down going, what do I need to work on? So part of the problem that I have is when I start repeating myself because I'm in a logic loop. I'm in a logic loop because I don't know how to close a conversation. I do not know the science of closing a conversation on stage yet. Now that's where it usually, and you know what? Here's the thing. I have seen this from professional people. I've seen them do this, where I'll be in the middle of enjoying a show on stage, like from the audience. I'll be in the audience and I'm enjoying a stand-up comedy act. And then they'll just go, you've been great, thank you. And they'll leave. And I'm like, ow, what, you just dropped me. I need to be brought down from the illusion of fantasy. You know what I'm talking about. We've all experienced it. That is poor oral skills. A master of oral skill will not do that. I need to study Aesop. Aesop was a master at this. I mean, and logicians can do it. I'm looking up Aesop's fables right now. We got it all set. Once upon a time, we all know how to begin. Once upon a place outside of time. Once upon a when. I know how to start it. I need an example. I'm looking for Aesop's fable. I just want one example of one of his documents, just so I can like analyze it. Analysis, message. Ooh, most famous. La, 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 la. The moral of the lesson. That's how he does it. The moral of the. There you go. The moral of the lesson. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll borrow from. I will borrow, and I don't think Christ did that either. He did not have it. The moral of the lesson is the moral of the lesson. There you go. Maybe that's what I'll do, at least until I find my own words. Maybe that's what I need to practice. The moral of the lesson. That sounds so preachy. Preachy. The moral of the lesson. What this has been about. Yeah, what this is about. Now I got to find my own words and I can feel it, but this is at least getting me in the right mindset. The moral of the lesson is don't be an ass. Now I got to think up something that I can use no matter what. What is the summation of all of the stuff I have said? Ooh, this is deep. If I were to take all the words of Anna, what is the one moral lesson? This is dangerous. Don't be an ass. Oh, well, that's easy. To thine own self be true. See, I say, may the kindest of words always find you. But that's my warm wishes to you. Trying to think. Yeah, I guess that would be it, is to thine own self be true. But that's such plagiarism. Oh, and the moral of the lesson isn't to thine own self be true. The moral of the lesson is to thine own self be true. Wow. Standing at the point of comprehension, to thine own self be true, has a completely different meaning than the rest of the world. It does not mean be true. It does not mean be true to yourself. No, no. Wow. That does not mean what we think it means. To thine own self, be logical. That's what it means. Live true to your logic. Live according to your law. That is what it means. Live according to your law. That is what to thine own self be true means. It means live according to your law. That is what it means. Shakespeare was not metaphorical. He was literal. Christ was metaphorical. To thine own self be true. Live according to your law. Wow. And the moral of the story is live according to your law. So when I talk to my YouTube people, it's a completely different everything than when I speak anywhere else. With everybody else, I'm dipping into the world of writing, which is my little bitch. But when I step into the world of YouTube, I'm practicing. I am in the process of mastering the skill. I'm only a tradesman. And I'm a master. I'm a master right up until I get to that closing. I would say I'm working on it. I am a high proficient tradesman, borderline master in some areas. I'm a master at opening. I am a tradesman at closing. So there's that in the body of the conversation. There's definitely that transition stage. And now that I'm learning how to translate from my Anna land on over to your perspective, I've got a 4-way translation chain happening in my head at all times, which is why I started stuttering again recently, is because I figured out how to translate. So first you have to learn, well, let's do this. Let's do this. First, you have to learn how to speak. Then you have to learn how to become fluent. Then you have to learn how to improv. Then you have to learn how to do it ethically. Remember that stage? I hated that stage. I'm glad it's over. Then, after you learn how to speak ethically, you become highly proficient. But then you have to learn the language of others. So in order to learn the language of others, there's a moment, it's between the proficiency. So the first stage of speaking, there's definitely stage 1 with speaking is just speaking. This is after infancy. Like you learn how to talk at the infant stage. And then you learn how to speak open, not fluently, like open. You find your voice. That's where most people are not at. Most people do not know how to speak. And this is literally at the toddler stage of the mind. And then you become fluent, and then you can do improvisation. That's when you can free flow conversations comfortably. Can you do it? Free form conversations comfortably with strangers. You will never feel a social awkwardness in those moments. It's long gone. And then you realize you have to apply it ethically. Now, when you learn how to do it ethically, that's where if you're an asshole, you're fluent. But if you're ethical, you slow down again. And then you become proficient ethically. So there's a proficiency unethical. So there's an unethical proficiency. And then you get proficient in ethics. And then there's a moment where you realize, and this is the 6th stage of communication mastery. You realize that all the things you're saying are 100% reflective of the first person point of view. But that doesn't mean it's landing on the other person. So you're transmitting. All of this is just transmission. And then you get to a point where you realize you have to project yourself from first person point of view over to third person. So then you've got the projection skill. You have literally the third person point of view projection skill. And that's when you realize that they have their language and you have yours, and you're meeting on the plane of English or whichever language you're both speaking. And that doesn't mean you're going to connect. So then you create your own language. That's when you realize you have to invent your own language. So you invent your language to understand the self. That's stage 7, is when you invent your own language to understand you. And then you have to figure out what language they are speaking. And then you have to translate it into common language. And then you have to learn their language. And that is what I'm doing in my head whenever I talk to you. I'm doing all of that in my head. I'm translating from, I already created my language. It's abstractic. So I have my own language. And then I now have your language. So I have to know which perspective you are. I assume 6th, which allows me to translate over to 6th. I'm assuming you know the abstract. No one who follows me if you follow me, you understand the abstract. If you don't know the abstract, you're going to go, huh? And shut it off. So I know you know the abstract, which means you're at least in the 6th perspective. So I have to translate the abstractic over into 6th ethical perspective. And then I have to translate it. And since I started doing that, I'm not proficient in this yet. So I'm in stage 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm not in stage 3. I'm in stage 4. This is stage 4. Oh, I see. Okay. So I'm in stage 4 of oral communications, where I am learning how to translate my language over to yours while learning your language and then translating it into common ground. So I've got a 4-part translation happening, and I'm not nearly as proficient in it, which is why my language changed again, and it's slowing down, and I'm stuttering again, and I'm tripping over my own words. It's because I'm translating. So I'm actually working on the translation. This is hard. So I don't know how to close yet. And one of the things that I've had a problem with is whatever I choose to do, it has to be done ethically. And I've been thinking like a business owner, and I'm going, no, that's not going to work. But the science does. If you want to follow the chain reaction through to the next step, I have something different for my YouTube people. And the reason why is because, well, you're different. You're different. You learn through visual. That's why you're on YouTube. That's why you're on YouTube. It's because you're the visuals. If you weren't a visual, you'd be sitting there reading all of my articles. There's a reason why you're on YouTube. So I'm thinking, all right, so these are the people who are the visual learners. These are the people who need to see, and they need the classroom area. So to follow through to the next step, for you, no, I would not give you just subscribe to my email. No, I would give you a different link. And it would be a whole welcome to my channel. Because what I have for you, people on YouTube like options. Why does that ring? That just really sinks to me. See, when you're reading something, an article on a blog, you have the question, do I want to keep reading? That's the question, do I want to keep reading? And what you're doing really is you are clicking a link to turn the page. Do I want to keep reading? Click the link to turn the page. So that's the mentality of people when they read blogs. Do I want to turn the page? But you're not thinking like that because you're in YouTube. You're in YouTube. You're in YouTube because you want all the options. You want to know the full buffet. You want the menu. And even if you want a menu located over at my turn the page, it's going to be a full menu. So with you guys, I would handle you completely different. I would handle you guys completely different. And the way I would handle YouTube people is completely different than the way I would handle my page people. And that's just it. I've got page people and I've got YouTube people. Interesting, right? So yeah, I would give you the option for the 12 ethical email challenge. I would definitely do that for you. I would let you choose. I would 100% have you choose. Where do you want to go? But I would give you the full menu. So for YouTube, I would just present you with the full menu. If you want to follow it through to the next chain reaction, for you, that would be, you can take a look at the menu. Click on the link below. I wouldn't say anything to it. It's if you just want to, yeah, that's it right there. Because I don't know where you want to go. With my ethical people, I know exactly where the ethical people is if you're not ethical. With my reader people is just click to turn the page. But I don't know if you want to turn the page. I don't know if you want to enter into the world of reading more material. You've got to choose that. So I don't know what you do want. So for you, I would give you all the options. So I would give you a link and just say, if you want to open the next chain reaction, if you're ready for the next chain reaction, there you go. And I would literally bring you into your own space. And then I would have this conversation with you like, so we meet again. And yeah. Yeah. So the moral of the lesson is live according to your law. You see, that I feel like needs an entire explanation just in itself. Live according to your law. And it just, yeah, the moral of the lesson is, yeah, there's definitely a wind down. When you're doing oral tradition, when you're doing oral, it's definitely a wind down. And I've never been good with the wind down. Instead of winding it down, I trail it off like, yeah, I've seen that. So it's the wind down and then it's the trail off, which is equivalent to, and I hate this in theater, where it's the black screen, except in Star Wars. In Star Wars, they do all this weird boom and boom. And I'm going, what is all that shit? You know what I'm talking about? Only in Star Wars. It's like the screen goes out and then it goes big. And I'm like, come on, George Lucas, what are you doing to us? It was very disoriented, very disoriented. There is something that my teacher said, my English teacher, my bad English teacher. She would talk to us about orange marmalade. Of everything she did, this was the only good thing that came out of her teaching, was orange marmalade. Okay, no, orange marmalade. Orange marmalade. She explained that writing a story was like building a sandwich. And you'd be putting the vegetables in, you'd be putting the lettuce in, and then suddenly in the middle of it, you'd throw in some orange marmalade. And it was very much an example of stay on topic. Well, in mathematics, we call that something different, where it's basically an anomaly, where you're talking all on point, and then it's boom, there you go, there's an anomaly. And you're talking about all the color red, and then boom, there's green. And it's like, what are you doing in here? You're green. This is the red club. So we see that in oral tradition. And then we see it again. Well, that's mathematics. But when you're speaking, we see this a lot. And it's not something you can get away with in writing. In writing, it's disorienting and people are like, that's not logical. What are you doing? And in math, it is one of the 7 deadly sins in mathematics to bring up an anomaly as if it's relevant. That's related but not relevant. That's all the mathematicians would say. That's related but not relevant. What are you doing? Stay on topic. In the world of the oral tradition, specifically in conversation is like a whole nother science. And then over here you have oral tradition. So in the world of oral tradition, God, this is the discipline that I want. This is where I'm going to next, is the ability to present, stay on task, and stay focused on a single task while in the middle of storytelling. My God, I want that discipline. So in the middle of talking to somebody, it is the ability to stay on topic. And a lot of people who lack logic will see something that's related and not relevant, but related, and they will jump ship and they'll bring it up. And it's like 5 logical lines down, and they never built the bridge between point A and point B. My younger brother did this all the time, where we'd be talking and then he would bring up something so irrelevant. And it would be like, what are you doing? And then I realized, it took me years to realize what he was doing, that he saw something that was related. And he was confusing something related to something that was relevant. So if you have somebody in your life, if you are this person where you'll randomly bring something up because you see the relativity, you can't do that. It is so disorienting in conversation. And the other thing that a lot of people do is a misplaced example, where you will see something that's related. And so to understand it, you require relativity. So you're seeking for the point of relativity to define your location. That's really what you're doing. It's triangulation, it's navigation. So someone will bring it up for the purpose of locating their relativity to that point, to understand where they are in relative to the comprehension. They have to bring it up. So they would be seeking their own point of relativity in comparison to the conversation. And for them, it's related. So then they will grab something that they can hold on to. And that's when they bring up the anomaly and they throw it into the conversation to go, oh, like this. And then but they won't even say that. They'll just, yeah, well, they do say that. They say, oh, you mean it's like this? And then they will bring up something that's completely out of left field. And it's just like, what? And it's so disorienting. And now it's making sense because it's breaking down you're looking for your own comprehension basically they've lost themselves and they're trying to find their placement in the conversation. And when you're telling a story, when you're improving, you have improv as in telling the story. You have the conversation where it's 2 people interacting with each other. And when we're in conversation, you have those anchors. This is it. This is it. When you're having a conversation, the other person behaves like an anchor so that you have these moments to ground yourself, to go, okay, this is the conversation topic. Yes, this is the conversation topic. This is the conversation topic. Now, if the person does not have this skill, the person who is supposed to be anchoring you isn't anchoring you. What they are doing is they are carrying you away into left field and suddenly you're way off topic. That's why some people are drifters in conversation. So you have conversation drifters. You know who I'm talking about. I love you, Angie. I love you. You have some people who are conversation drifters, and then you have some people who are conversation anchors. So if you are with a conversation anchor, it absolutely stabilizes you so you can get your point and do bridge to bridge to bridge. A conversation drifter is somebody who won't anchor down to the subject. They will drift off topic, and then they will drift off topic, and then they will drift off topic, and then they will drift. I love you, Angie. And then they will drift off topic, and then they will drift off topic. And so you have conversation drifters. And once you realize that you are with a conversation drifter, you have the ability to anchor yourself and be their anchor to keep them on point. In addition to that, that is conversation. Now, a storyteller has the additional craft of having to tell the story while also being their own anchor. I don't know how to do it yet. I do not know how to do that yet. And that's the danger of monologuing. That is absolutely the danger of monologuing. It's connecting point A to point B to point C to point D. We do this in logic. And then each point becomes its own milestone, its own anchor. But when you're storytelling, and I can do it in writing, but when I'm storytelling, this is called navigation. This is literally conversation navigation. But it's not even conversation navigation because it's story navigation. But there's also there's written story navigation, and then there's conversation navigation. But then there is storytelling navigation. And storytelling navigation, that is, my God, I want to be a master storyteller. I don't teach this yet. I teach conversation. I teach communication. Now that I got down, that I'm a master. But storytelling, I want to be a master storyteller. That is my prize, my end goal. I want to have the ability to have this discipline down to such a science that when I deliver a story, it literally anchors myself into all the different points. Good God, this is going to be highly complex, and I love it. I love it. Storytelling. It's the ability to jump over here, make a little side point, and then jump back to the story, get right back on point, and then carry the ship as if you never left. Now that is disciplined storytelling. Now, the people that I've seen who do this, they rehearse it. Storytellers improv. They improv it. It was funny because when Robin Williams did Rick and Morty, no. What's the other show he did? He didn't do Rick and Morty. What did he do? Oh, God damn it. What did he do? Oh, my God. Okay, Robin Williams was Mork. Mork and Mindy. I'm pretty sure that there's some sort of a relativity between Mork and Mindy and Rick and Morty. Mork, Mindy, Rick, Morty. There's a lot going on there. There's a relative. I'm going to have to like research the history to see what they are doing there. Anyway, when Robin Williams did Mork and Mindy, one person said to me, oh, that makes so much. Right. I remember now. Mork and Mindy was 100% improvisation. There was no script. I have to check that fact. But somebody told me that Mork and Mindy, not Rick and Morty, that Mork and Mindy was 100% improvisation, no script. And they had said, you know, that explains, oh, I remember now, it was my first husband. He had said to me that it was without improvisation. Now I really have to look this up to confirm the source. He was saying that it's completely without improvisation, or it's 100% improvisation. And as a result, he said, oh my God, that explains so much, because that they drift. He's like, when you watch the show, it sounds like they're drifting, like there's no sense to it. Now I want to go back and, well, I've never seen Mork and Mindy, but I really want to go and watch it now and look for that. But my point is, that was back in the 70s when Robin Williams was like fresh out of Juilliard and he was mastering the skill of improvisation. So he was not yet a master. And I'm going, that's it. That's it. Now he does comedy. I don't do comedy. I'm just trying to get storytelling. And that's the difference, is he very much, yeah, he just did comedy. I mean, he did a lot more than that, but comedy was his forte, of course. So I'm looking at it going, the ability to anchor your own self. Remember to stay on top. This is chess. It's very much chess, because you have to remember your own point in your mind, where you're taking the ship. You have to literally know the entire point of origin, where exactly you left off, bookmarking your own journey in your mind. Now, I write everything as I talk to help me stay on track. That way, when I lose my place in the navigation, I can just glance down and go, okay, oh, this must be equivalent to what the artist does when they're looking at something and they're like drawing from reference. I speak from reference. So this is probably equivalent to it. But that is storytelling. When you have the ability to anchor yourself, navigate, bookmark your own place, wander off on purpose, give the little side anecdote, and then get right back on point and then carry on the ship so you get to the destination. And thus, that's all she wrote. And then the moral of the lesson is live according to your law. I'm going to get this closing down. I'm going to get the closing down. So if you want to follow this chain reaction through to the next step, click on the link below. Thank you. And may the kindest of words always find you.